am making kimchi today. It's not something that I make very often. It lasts a long time. We only eat maybe a tablespoon a day on a salad, maybe two. Anyway, I like to make sauerkraut or kimchi because it is so good for building the microbiome. And so I thought I'm going to do it. Might as well show you what I do. So I like bok choy. I use bok choy for my regular sauerkraut and for kimchi. Now this, you can see it doesn't look like what you normally get in the grocery stores. And this is from our yard and it's starting to bolt. And so I said, you know what, I want to make some kimchi. So that's what we have today. So I went ahead and washed a bunch of them. You can see it's pretty stemmy, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to put it in here. So I don't know if any of you have ever made any ferments before. You can see it dripping everywhere. So the first thing I want to do, because I always forget how much salt I've added, this recipe uses 2 tablespoons of salt, which seems like an awful lot, but we want to stop any harmful bacteria from growing, so that's why we want the salt. So I'm going to go ahead and measure out 2 tablespoons of salt so I can make sure that I use all of the salt when I need it. Okay, so I have this little bowl of salt. I have my greens. I'm going to chop them and I'm going to put them in this bowl. All right, so bok choy is a cruciferous vegetable, which is a cancer fighter, and one of those greens that I try to get in every day. So I'll use bok choy in salads and stir fries and things like that. So sometimes people will hand chop these like I'm doing, and sometimes you can put them in a food processor or things like that. Some greens you could even grate, and it doesn't have to be bok choy. It could be green cabbage. A lot of people use green cabbage, red cabbage, even kale. What I'm doing is I'm breaking it down, throwing it in here, and then I'm going to be massaging that salt in there to help bring out some of the waters. And it will also help the bacteria, the natural bacteria that are already on the greens, to grow. That's what we want. So lactobacillus, which you may have seen when you buy probiotics. All right, so I'm just going to rough chop. I'm going to get maybe a third of it in there, and then I'm going to massage some salt, do another third, massage some more salt, like that. So it's kind of like composting. So people like to use compost for their gardens outside to create all the microbes. We hear about microbes for the garden, but they're also in our gut. And we're speeding things up here. So I'll show you some different tools I use too. So if I were just doing sauerkraut, all I would have is the greens and the salt. That's it. How many greens? It's hard to say. A big bunch. Usually if I buy a large bunch at the store, make sure you buy organic. If I buy a large bunch at the store, then that will be enough to fill up a quart jar, which is what my plan is for today. So let me sprinkle in the salt. Massage it in. Can you see what I'm doing? Massage the salt in there. Breaking it down, it's going to shrink just like when we're cooking it. That's kind of what the salt does. Draws out all the moisture just like when you're cooking. All right. Should have put an extra towel over here. My hands are going to get dirty. Do some more. See if I can speed it up a little bit. You know what? While I'm talking, I'm going to go ahead and crush my garlic so that the Allison can form. Just saw it sitting there. I'll tell you all the ingredients in a minute. I just want to make sure that the bacteria is growing on the cabbage first before I add everything else. All right, more greens. All I did is strip them off of the stalks because you can see how when it was bolting, you could see how it's long and lean. It doesn't look like in the grocery store. All right. Tell me what greens, if you've never made any sauerkraut or kimchi before, let me know. and let me know what types of greens you have used. Tell me what's worked and what hasn't worked for you. So I just ran the dishwasher, and so I just pulled my mason jar and my measuring glass bowl here out of the dishwasher. So they're hot and clean. You want to make sure everything's good and clean because we don't want to grow anything harmful. We only want to grow good bacteria. See, I'm just running back and forth. Go ahead and add some more salt. For sauerkraut, this is all you do. And you'll see a lot of water will come out. It takes maybe 10 minutes. The water will be drawn out so that when we pack it in, it'll be covered in liquid, which reminds me, I want to save a leaf that's big enough to cover the top. I'm going to save this one. Hopefully I'll remember and won't chop it. We'll see what happens. A lot of times I forget. And then I just get another cabbage leaf. Luckily I have some outside or in the refrigerator. Yeah, let me move that out of the way. So my kimchi recipe usually includes an apple or a pear. I don't have one today, so I think I will use a beet. I forgot to get one ready for me because I forgot I didn't have an apple. And just so it has some sweetness, because I'm going to put in some hot peppers in here. You can use jalapeno. I'm going to be using some dried poblanos that I saved from over the summer. But if you don't like spicy, then leave the peppers out. You could use a bell pepper instead if you wanted that. I just like poblanos a lot. They're just the right heat for me. Peppers are those types of peppers. Spicy peppers have capsaicin in them, which is very good for your heart. Helps to balance blood pressure. And I just like the heat. Going. I'm going to be putting in 2 carrots. I'm going to shred 2 carrots, and I'm going to grate about an inch of ginger. I'm going to chop 4 green onions, and then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of the dried poblanos and some cayenne to give it some extra heat. And then if I get a chance to grab a beet, I will add the beet as well. Oh, and 2 very large cloves of garlic. I would do 2 to 4 depending on how big your garlic cloves are. Because we know how good garlic is. You've heard me say it a million times before. But antifungal, antimicrobial, cancer fighting properties, antiviral properties. I'm just throwing off these little end pieces. Massage some more salt in here. To show you, so this is sauerkraut made with bok choy. Move that out of my way. I have everything in the way. There we go. See, it's just kind of disappearing. Put it all in and it shrinks on down. All right, grab some more with my bok choy. I just like to stack them up. These even have the little flowers on them, and that's okay. We can eat the flowers. See that? Aren't they pretty? Little yellow flowers. There we go. More. I know a lot of you garden. If you do garden, have you ever grown bok choy? or any of the other cruciferous vegetables. We don't have a lot of luck with broccoli or Brussels sprouts, but kale and arugula, bok choy, they always seem to do well for us. And I said to make sure you buy organic because we are wanting to let the bacteria grow that are on here, the good bacteria, the lactobacillus, and nothing harmful. We want just all the natural ingredients. But we are eating this kimchi. You know, it's a wonderful flavor and it adds a really nice tang. If it's something you're not used to, start very slow. But we like to take it more for, I don't want to say medicinal uses, because it's not because we're sick or anything. I guess just to keep us healthy. Health promotion and disease prevention. I'll say it that way. And so I want organic because when you're growing something organically, you can see this leaf here, that leaf there. So you can see something has eaten that. They've taken a bite out of that. And so what it does is the plant says, oh, I need to defend myself. And so it creates medicine. It creates its own insecticide to protect it. It builds up and releases chemicals to heal itself right there. And then when we eat it, we get the benefits of that. If this was not grown organically, it would have been sprayed. A chemical pesticide would have been used, and the plant would have had to defend itself. And so then we wouldn't be getting the benefits of eating this. It goes way more beyond the vitamins and minerals. There are a lot more phytonutrients in there that we're not even aware of that we want to get from our plants. Okay, so these I'm just going to strip. So see, it doesn't look like what you get in the grocery store. It's got this extra stem. And I could chop the stem if I wanted to, but I don't want to. I'm just going to pull the leaves off. Go. Still leaving my leaf to the side to cover the top. I will show you, I got a special top for my mason jar. You don't have to do this, but it's what I do so I don't have to burp the jar if you've ever had to do that before. I use these lids right here. Can you see that? I bought these on Amazon. Looks like this. It has a little nipple and it has an airlock. It will go underneath the band. I'm not sure where I put my band. Anyway, so it'll fit on the jar and then I'll put the band on. And then I'm going to stick this on a plate or in a bowl so that if any liquid does come out of it, it won't get all over the counter. Oh, I stuck a band over here. Oh well, I'll find it. All right, chop the rest and massage my salt in. Now we want to fill the jar all the way. Now this is all I would do if I were making sauerkraut. I've got all of my greens in there, finished putting my salt in there. I could add some spices or some garlic if I want to, but it's not necessary. You can see it's pretty salty, so if you're watching your salt intake, then you don't want to go overboard with eating kimchi and sauerkraut either. But the salt is necessary to prevent any harmful bacteria from growing. And it brings out the liquid. So can you see any liquid in there yet? Pretty juicy. We're gonna let it sit there. So if I were making sauerkraut, then I would just leave it right here at this stage, let it sit for a few minutes so that more water is released. So that when I pack it in, I want liquid on top. I want liquid to cover everything. Some people add vinegar or saltwater solution to theirs, but I haven't had a problem. Knock on wood, now that I'm doing it on here. We'll see what happens, right? Okay, so saving my leaf. I have my green onions here. I'm going to cut these little root ends off and save them to go in my freezer bag for my vegetable broth. Have I told you all about that? So any of my ends of carrots and celery and onions and green onions, I save and put it in a freezer bag. So even these tops. I learned this from Chef AJ. And then when I go to make veggie broth, or like today I made some broccoli soup. So all I did is throw this in some water, everything from my freezer bag into some water and cook it for an hour, and then strained it, and then that was my broth for my soup. Okay, so I'm just going to cut these onions. That was 4 green onions. Leave them on the side. Notice when I scrape, I never scrape on the blade side. I always scrape on the back of the knife so that I don't dull my blade. This is a really sharp knife. I'm going to chop my garlic. This one really didn't get squished. Let me see if I can find a helper to get me a beet. Excuse me for a second. Hey, helper, can you get me a beet out of the fridge and wash it real quick? We'll see what happens. And that alarm is my dehydrator. I made some crackers last night and put them in there and forgot. So the timer will cut off in just a second. And if you haven't seen it yet, then there is a video of my dehydrated crackers. So I am live. I need a very small beet. If you will wash, I'm going to use the greens too. The greens will be delicious. If you'll just wash a small beet and the greens for me. That would be perfect. All right, so like I said, the original recipe has an apple or a pear to give it some sweetness. And it also helps the bacteria grow. Bacteria feed on sugar, and there's sugar in beets. So I was thinking about adding an extra carrot. I could have done that. Oh, even though it was green onions and garlic, it's gonna make me cry. I don't like to cry when I'm on live. All right, here's our garlic. Check our, oh yeah, can you hear it getting squishy? All the water's coming out. Beautiful, thank you very much. Yeah, that's perfect, thank you. You can sneak under if you want, if you don't want to be on camera. Everybody close your eyes, she's running by. Okay, and here's my carrot. I didn't chop anything off. I didn't peel it. I want the skin because that's where all the healing nutrients are. So here we go. Wonder how that sounds on the microphone. Apologize for that if it's crazy loud. And I don't have to grate it. I could have cut it into matchsticks or something like that. That would be fine too. And the last time I made it with turmeric, and I forgot. I have turmeric in the refrigerator. I could have done turmeric too, just for some extra healing properties. So that's why this one is kind of yellow. Can you see the yellow in there? Oh well. You can really add anything you want. I was going to add the carrot, but I think I'll wait and let those waters release a little bit more first. And this carrot end I'll also throw in my freezer bag to use for my broth for the next. Actually, I'm making a vegetable soup tonight, so Kind of sounds silly to make a vegetable broth or a vegetable soup, but I probably will anyway. And carrot number 2. So there's a lot of sugar in carrots too. Not harmful sugar. Don't be afraid to eat the carrots. And so that will help as well with growing the bacteria. To build the microbiome, repair. You have leaky gut or something, then kimchi is really good. If you are a sufferer of IBS, or if you have issues with histamines, if you know that you have a histamine intolerance, then you may not want to have kimchi, or maybe start with just a little bit, maybe just a tiny bit of juice. I've heard people will add like a 1/4 teaspoon of juice to a dish for a couple of days, and then a 1/2 teaspoon, and then for a couple of days, and then a teaspoon for a couple of days, just to help build up that tolerance. If you're not used to eating foods like this, that might be a good way for you to start too. Anytime you introduce a new food to your diet, if it's something you're not used to eating, then you don't have the bacteria in your gut there to help you digest. So did you know you have bugs in there that digest your food for you? And they're not in there if you're not eating certain foods. So if you don't eat beans, and then you eat a couple of cups of beans one day, you're going to have stomachache. You have to start slowly and build up. Same with grains. Okay, I think that's probably low enough. I'll leave that. So here's my carrots. I'll go ahead and massage the carrots and onions and garlic in there. Yes, this looks fabulous. Rub it in. Get it all in there really good. And then I'm going to add about 1 inch of ginger. If you're not used to buying ginger, this is ginger. This is organic ginger here. If it was not organic, if it's too hard to find organic, then peel it. I'm not going to peel it because I like the peel. I like whatever this plant needed to defend itself in nature, I want in my body to help me to defend anything that's coming my way, right? Especially when we're living through what we're going through right now. So I'm just going to break a piece off. I only wanted about 1 inch. Move some things out of my way. I don't normally cook with this much stuff in my way, so I get kind of scattered. There we go. If you don't have a grater like this, I think it's great. It would be a great investment for you. I didn't have to use the box grater for the carrots. A food processor would have been fine. You could put all of this in a food processor. For some reason, I just like to use my hands. I feel like that's putting more nature in there. So here we go. That was a big hunk of grated ginger. It's going to be delicious. Massage that in. Let's see how we're doing as far as liquid goes. You'll see if there's any liquid coming up on the bottom. It's hard to hold this up and show you at the same time, but there's a little bit of liquid in the bottom now. All right. I want to add my beet. That is going to get messy, but that's okay. I'm going to grab the towel behind me. I should have put an extra one here anyway. Here's my band. I am going to go ahead and add my peppers. So I usually put 2 tablespoons of peppers, and you can see this is big. They're not little. And these are big poblanos. And so, whoops, let me just throw them out myself. Let's see if I can break them down a little bit. They're really hard from the dehydrator. And I don't care if it has the stems. The stems are fine. I grew these in my own yard, so I know that they're safe. Woo, and spicy. All right. Even though it's dried, those oils, whew, add those in. And I'm going to add a little bit of cayenne just because I know how good it is for us. Like I said, if you don't like spicy, don't add spicy. So can you see? This is a tablespoon, so that's maybe a teaspoon in there for this whole jar. And last but not least will be my beet. And I'm going to use the entire beet, the greens and the bulb and even the tail. And so these are organic. Buy beets organic. First I'll chop the greens. I cooked some beet greens the other day. They were fabulous. I mixed them with some spinach. I think it was spinach and kale. Anyway, sauteed together with a little bit of garlic and onion. So good. All right. Chop that as small as I can. Beet greens are sometimes a little spicy to me. I like the milder greens like bok choy. All right, throw that in. And then I'm going to try to grate the beet. I've never done this before. Why not while I'm live, right? Here we go. If you have any questions about what I'm doing or why, then please post them in the comments below. I will come back and check and answer your questions if I can, or look up whatever and help you out in whatever way I can. That kind of works. It might take a while though, so let's see what happens. If I were using an apple or a pear, I probably would chop it into matchsticks, so maybe that's what I'll do, because it's so much easier than grating. The grating is making a mess, and I'm trying to speed up for y'all. So maybe I should tell you how I'm doing this. Did you see how I'm slicing it? So the first thing I always do whenever I'm cutting or chopping a round vegetable is I cut a piece off so that it's flat, so that it won't be rolling around. You don't want to be chasing your vegetable with a knife. That's when you get cut. So a fruit or a vegetable. Sometimes you can even just slice just a tiny little hair off so that it's flat. Maybe you're losing a teeny bit of your fruit or vegetable, but you're going to protect yourself as well. So, all right, so then I'm just going to make some long slices and then turn it. And I'm chopping really fine there, you see. All right. Little tail, I'm even going to chop it, throw it into, why not? So I put this on salads. I've also made some Asian dishes. It's really good stirred into fried rice. But usually I'll just put a tablespoon on my salad each day. Some more. The onion really got me. Go. A few more. If you're just joining us, we're making kimchi. So far, I have a bunch of bok choy that's shredded with 2 tablespoons of salt, 4 green onions, 2 carrots. I have to look at what I'm doing, not the camera, right? 2 carrots. What else do we have? A tablespoon of ginger, 3 garlic cloves. And we're letting all the juices develop. I massaged it really good. And I normally add an apple or a pear, but I did not have one. I accidentally ate it today. And so I'm using a beet to give it some sweetness. Oh, and I added 2 tablespoons of peppers. This one I'm using poblanos and cayenne. as dried peppers. You could use whatever you want. You don't like spicy, then use bell peppers or just leave the peppers out. Just want the greens, then just the greens. A bunch of greens and 2 tablespoons of salt is all you need. So I'm just chopping it really small so that when I eat the kimchi, I get all the different flavors. All right. There we go. That's everything. I'm going to massage it in, mix it really well. That's going to look at my hands. Ah. Very messy when you add the beets. This one has garlic and ginger. The one I made before had turmeric, so it is yellow. And I just didn't think about grabbing the turmeric out of the refrigerator, or I would have. Okay, so I'm going to start packing it into my clean quart jar. You can see this is a messy job. Pack it all in there. Messy, but it's worth it. It will be delicious. Okay, so it's all the way in there. I have a little bit left. I'm going to pack it down. You kind of hear it squishing. When I pack it, you can see I have a lot more room. Can you see? It's so messy, it's kind of hard to see on there. I'm going to add the remaining and the juice. I want the juice to come up. Okay. And then I saved a leaf. Look at all that. Ugh. It's tasty though. So I saved one leaf to go on top, to cover the top. Let's see if I can fold it. And then I've got my, there we go. So let me see if I can hold it up where you can see. So I press the leaf in. I don't know if you can see the liquid on top of the leaf. No, because when I tilt it, darn, you can't see. There is liquid on top of the leaf. I promise. It's there. I'm spilling it even. All right, so I want it to be covered with the juice, the liquid that came up. We didn't add any liquid. That's just the natural waters that came out of the vegetable. I'm using my special lid. I don't want to hold it. Let me see. My hands are so gross. Here is another picture of what I ordered off of Amazon. I'm going to put that on top. That way, air can go out. I don't have to worry about burping the lid. Sometimes if it's over full, liquid will come out, and so I'll set this. I'm not going to grab anything else right now because my hands are gross, but I'll just set this on a plate or something so that if any liquid does come out, it won't spill anywhere on the counter. Anyway, if you have any questions, let me know. And thank you for watching. Like and share our videos always. Enjoy.